she didn't come and leave because she couldn't find her way in. So sit comfortably. A lot of people are gone today. A lot of people on vacations, and at least we're all here. We're feeling like being here, so that's a good thing. So close your eyes. Let yourself lengthen up through the top of your head. Feel your breath coming in and going out through your nose. Allow your breath to come into your belly. Easily start to just move a little bit forward and back with your breath. It doesn't have to be far. It can be like an inch that you exhale your way forward and inhale your way back up. Thinking of keeping your back long. It's almost the idea that you lead a little bit with your chest so that you don't lead with your shoulders rounding forward. So keeping that length of your spine. And try to let the back of the neck release so that when you do come forward, you don't jut your chin forward, right? But you keep the back of your head in line with your spine. Good, and then finish the one you're on. When you come back upright to sitting, stay there. Let yourself lengthen up through the top of your head. Release your arms on out beside you. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse. Inhale our hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open our arms on back out and down. And make a big arm circle. Let yourself inhale your arms forward and up. Reach as far back behind yourself as you can as they come down. And then we'll reverse and reach back behind ourselves first and then up and over the top and let the arms come on back down forward of us. Take a nice inhale once you're here. And on your exhale, twist to your right. Bring yourself on around into an easy twist, waking up your spine. Think about your chin being about parallel to the floor. Good. One more inhale. And on the exhale, come on back around through center and go all the way into the other direction. Feeling that gentle, easy movement through the spine. Feeling length upward through the top of your head. One more inhale. And let your exhale draw you on back into center again. And let's stretch our legs out if they're not already. Remember which leg you had in front if you were cross-legged. And move through your feet a little bit, circling them around. You can do opposite. If you feel better to do opposite, do opposite. And reverse direction when you're ready. Good, and then just kind of windshield wiper your legs a little bit. Go out and in a little bit. And then bring yourself back into sitting cross-legged. If you're cross-legged, I mean switch your legs. Otherwise, bring yourself where you're comfortable, whether legs are long or you're sitting in your chair. And release your arms again on out beside you here now. And let's tilt our head just a little to the right. So let yourself just tilt the head so you feel a stretch there in the left side of your neck. And then bring your right hand right there to the outside of your head somewhere. Maybe your face, that depends on you. And press your head gently into that hand. Like you're just gently feeling a little more engagement in the left side of the neck as you press your head into your hand. One more breath. And then rise back up, and we're going to switch and go to the other side. So first, when you just tilt, you feel the weight of your head. You feel a stretch down that right side of your neck. Then bring your left hand, again, it kind of depends on you where exactly you want to put your hand on the side of your head there or your face. And press gently down into the hand with your head. So you're engaging the right side of the neck there. And then we'll slowly come on back up to the top. Release our arms on out beside us. Let's inhale the hands straight out from the shoulders. Flex your hands here. Draw your arms forward so your hands are forward of your shoulders. And then open back up into nice and wide open arms here. And then one more time. Exhale as you bring the hands forward and towards the front of your shoulders. And then inhale and stretch them on back to the side. Let's lower the arms down and let your either fingertips touch the floor behind you if you're on the floor. Or you can go flat to your hands. Think of your chest coming forward. If you're in your chair, just lean back. Be really mindful of your neck. Sometimes I like to draw my chin a little down so I can feel released. And some days I feel very good to start to look up. Sometimes it is not the thing for me to do. So you have to just judge how it feels for you in your neck. Some people like to look up and feel the throat opening up here. Just try not to just drop your head back, which is not so good. One more breath. And then we're going to come on forward. Let your chin come down towards your chest for a second. Release your head a little bit there. Release your neck. And then we'll come on back up. And from here, we're going to head towards our hands and knees. Or if you don't want to be on your knees, use your chair seat. Use a blanket. You'd rather have a blanket underneath your knees so that you don't feel like your knees are pressing into hard ground, right? Hands, whatever you like to do for your wrists. Fists are fine. Flat hands are fine. Be mindful, letting yourself get easy there in your stance, whether you're on your hands and knees or your hands and feet. And then just easy moving through here your spine. Feeling your cat-cow. Letting yourself feel that tailbone initiate. And you don't have to go deeply into the pose. It might be that you're just letting yourself find a little bit of movement through your pelvis and then up through your spine. You might want to go a little bit more. That's up to you. Go ahead and finish off the one you're on or that you're moving into. Come on back into more neutral spine. And let's look over to the right. And let your right arm float up. Maybe where your arm's parallel to the floor. Might be enough right there. You're just putting more weight into your left hand, right? If you can rise your right hand up higher towards the ceiling, you can do that. And then we'll bring the hand on back down. We're going to look to the left right away. The left hand comes up if you can. And if not, don't do it. Keep the hand down. If you like for it to go up higher and higher, you can. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. And let's bring our left foot forward and our right foot back and come into lunge here. Now, how long you make this lunge is totally up to you, right? So you may feel like you need a shorter lunge. You need to not put too much stress into your legs or your hips. You may feel better to let the lunge be longer. It is really up to you. Just be mindful of that front knee, not coming farther forward than your ankle. And let that gentle openness for the back of the right leg happen here. Engage your belly just a little bit. See if you can feel your tailbone reaching down kind of towards your right heel back there. And we're going to switch legs. So however you need to do that. Coming into your lunge, Being mindful about how long your stance is, that front knee alignment. Engaging a little bit in your belly there, but feeling your tailbone reaching back, kind of like towards the inner left heel back there. And think of your shoulders drawing down away from your ears. Good. We're going to switch again. So again, get yourself into a stance that feels good for you. Let's see about adding a little twist, bringing our left hand to our left hip and rolling your shoulder up towards the ceiling a little bit. So that left hand can stay on your hip if that's better for your shoulder, or you can go flat onto your sacrum with your palm. And then we'll come on back down and we're going to switch again. Yeah, once you get into that lunge, if you can bring your right hand on up to your hip, you can roll the shoulder up if that feels possible. Just take your time coming into that twist there. Good. And then we'll bring our hands back down so we can step forward, finding our standing forward bend. So remember, use whatever support you need. Knees can be bent as much as you'd like. You can use support underneath your elbows, under your knees, or hands on the blocks or the chair, or you can release a little more down with the hands if you're comfortable to do that. Just breathe. Easy, nice, full, deep breaths. Relax through your face and your jaw. One more breath. And we will bring our hands up to our hips and rise on up to standing, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands together in front of our hearts, coming into mountain pose. So adjust as you need. For a second, go ahead and interlace your fingers, clasp your hands, really not harshly, but really feel as you bring your fingers down towards the backs of your hands, and you feel your thumbs crossed. You feel your fingers there interlaced. Just squeeze gently inward with your palms, and even squeeze your fingers towards each other too. And then softly open your hands and start to gently let your hands come together now, so that the fingers are spread a little bit, fingers and thumbs are together. Bringing your gaze on forward and out. And then we'll unfold our arms right on down beside us and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend your knees as you come on forward into that standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find a nice, long, flat back. And exhale, step your right foot back into lunge. Good. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Guys, and then from there we'll come out towards a plank. So ease your way out, going towards your plank. And you don't have to do a full plank. You can put your knees down, do a half plank if you're on the floor. You can come out just a little bit towards your push-up pose. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. So whether your hands are on the chair seat or up on blocks any height, just be mindful if your hands are on blocks. As you come into that down dog, lengthening back through your tailbone and your sits bone. And then we're going to come on forward with our right foot and come on in to our lunge. So take your time to get there. You can put your knees down. You can bring your right foot forward and do a really short or a longer lunge. That's up to you. And then we're going to come into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. And be really mindful here. Use whatever support you need. You can put your hands above your knees and stay up really high in your forward bend. You can use your hands on the chair. You can put your elbows above your knees. So just be mindful so that you feel okay in your back. But you're still getting, from being forward like this, you're still getting a release in the backs of your legs. Let your head hang if possible. And now think about your face being soft. Relaxing all around your eyes and all around your mouth. Good. And one more breath. And then we'll bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's reverse to inhale our hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms like wings as you bend your knees and come on forward back to that standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a long, flat back. Your hands can be on your legs, they can be on your chair or on your blocks. And we're going to step our left foot back and come into lunge. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. Enjoy that still coming into that release in the back of your left leg. Good. And let's make our way into downward facing dog pose. So your down dog, again, your hands can be where you'd like. Do really focus on the length of your spine here. You can bend both your knees in dog if you need to. You're reaching back with your tailbone and your sitting bones and finding length through the spine here. Good. And then we'll come on out like we're going to do a push-up towards that plank. And again, you don't have to do a whole full plank. You might just shift a little bit. You may decide you want to be on your forearms if you're on the floor. You may want to do little push-ups if you feel really good to let your elbows bend a little bit. And then we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Walk a little bit if you can. Bend one knee at a time in your dog. Like you're walking your dog fairly slowly. Good. And then come on back to your full dog. Let's bring our left foot forward and find lunge here. So take your time coming into that lunge. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Good. And we'll come on back forward into standing forward bend now with our feet hips distance apart and parallel. Making our way into wherever we can be where you don't feel any kind of stress in your back, in your legs, right? Hands can be up higher. You can always put blocks in the seat of your chair to get out of your hands and let yourself come onto block or blocks so that you get out of your hands, but you're able to release forward in your forward bend where it's not too much. So nice, easy breaths. Let your head release. Let your jaw go. Feel the feet now equal in the floor. Good. And then from here, we'll bend our knees a little deeper, bring our hands to our hips and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's release our arms down beside us. Clasp your hands behind you here for a second. Let yourself slide your hands down so your arms are not locked, but they're longer, right? They're not locked straight, but they're kind of straighter. The elbows are just a tiny bit bent. And then just allow yourself to feel what your tailbone's doing. Make sure you're not tucking your tailbone forward up under you, right? Tailbone is reaching down towards between your heels, but your belly is gently engaging. So the belly is engaging without tucking the tailbone, right? And then just enjoy. Feel the knees a little bit bent here. Feel the feet equal in the floor. See if a couple of three-part breaths can happen here. Inhaling into your belly, then into your ribs, then up into your chest. And when you exhale, let the breath come out of your chest first, and then your ribs and your belly. So the inhales start at the bottom and rise to the top. And then they just reverse. They come out of the top as you exhale, down through the ribs to the belly. And then we're going to release our arms back down beside us and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend our knees as we come forward back to that standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find that flat, long back, like a tabletop back. And then put your hands where you like for your down dog so you can just walk your way back into a downward facing dog pose. So remember, you're kind of endeavoring to get your head between your upper arms, but that's not always possible. So if you need to, just focus on the length of the spine without putting any kind of stress into your shoulders. And on your next inhale, come on out towards that plank again. Now again, you don't have to come all the way into plank. You can add a back bend here only if you choose to. You can let your chest come forward between your arms a little bit towards an up dog, or stay in your plank, or go to the floor and do a little cobra or sphinx. And then we'll come on back into down dog. See if you can turn your head a little bit to look one way and then the other, to the right and then the left, letting yourself find a little release in your neck. And then come on back to center, and we're going to come out again towards that plank. And again, it is optional to do a back bend. You can stay in plank. You can, if you'd like, to come down to the floor and come onto your forearms. You can do a sphinx or a little bit of a cobra, just barely lifting up. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Good. From here, let's bring our right foot forward to come into lunge. So whatever you need to do to get that foot forward, knees can come down. You can let yourself come up and then back into the lunge. And then we'll step back into standing forward bend again. And again, be really mindful. Follow how your back feels, how the backs of your legs feel. Stay up higher if you want to. I know some of you really like to let your arms release all the way down, hands towards the floor, because it feels good, right? So if that feels good to you, go ahead. Just be mindful of how it feels in your back and in the backs of your legs. Good. One more breath here. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up to standing. And we're going to inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So finding your mountain pose, start with your feet. And you know, you can kind of walk in place a little bit if you want to, getting your feet. Most of us, our feet are a fist about apart, or maybe a fist and a half distance apart. So your hip pointer bones kind of line up with the center of your feet, and the toes are facing forward. And then once you start to stack up, right, you feel your hips over your ankles. Find that alignment of your pelvis, right, so that you're not tucking forward with your tailbone. Belly's gently engaged, but the tailbone's dropping down. And then feel like your shoulders are over your hips. Let your hands be right there wherever they want to come, thumbs in towards your breastbone. And then imagine you're looking out at the horizon. If you were standing out in an empty, open field. Your eyes can be opened or closed. And you know, I love to have my eyes closed. If you're at all dizzy, probably a lot better to keep your eyes open. And just enjoy feeling your feet equally into the floor. Imagine you're being supported by the air all around you, so it's very easy to stand in your mountain pose. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us and move around however you need. If you need to move through your feet and ankles, do. If you got a chair, you might want to turn it around. We're going to come into Warrior One first. Everybody else, make sure you have your blocks handy here at the front of you on your mat. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into Warrior One, which is squaring our shoulders to the front of our mat here. So if you got your chair, if you put your hands on your chair, then that right there gets your shoulders around. The back foot is turned out maybe 20, 30 degrees. How far apart you have your feet is up to you. Let yourself, if you're ready, start to look forward. If you need to keep your hands on your chair for balance, do. If you're able to bring your hands to be in front of your chest, do. And now this moving up and down of the hands is, if you feel like you can't do it without holding onto a chair, you can let just one arm hold on and one arm move up and down. Because we're going to inhale the hands up through the midline. And on the exhale, we're going to let them come back down to be in front of our chest. So inhaling, rising the hands up through the midline. And on the exhale, letting them come back down. And then one more time. Inhaling, rising the hands up. And on the exhale, letting them come back down. And let's unfold our arms right on down beside us. And inhale our arms out and up overhead into a wide V. Turn the palms to face each other. Draw your pinkies towards each other. Feel energy up through your fingertips. Now you can look up a little higher if you choose to. Bring your gaze up, maybe to where the wall meets the ceiling. But keep the belly engaged. And again, you're not tucking your tailbone up under you. It's reaching back towards your heel back there, towards your right heel. One more breath. And then let your arms release on down beside you. And we're going to come into a lunge for a second, bringing our hands down, maybe to the back of the chair, maybe to the seat of the chair, or maybe to your blocks. So find your lunge for a second there. And now we're going to shift in towards pyramid pose by bringing that right foot in enough to lower the heel down to the floor. The back foot is turned out 20 to 30 degrees. So you've got yourself here in your pyramid pose. Thighs are engaging upward. You're coming into the backs of the legs here now. So don't, if it feels like it's too much, change the length of your stance. You can go shorter, you can go longer. Just enjoy feeling the thighs lifting up towards the hips. And lengthen through both sides of your body equally. So you're really letting your back be flat like a tabletop. So try not to round up into the back here, right? Well, reach back through your tailbone. Let your heart melt down a little bit. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to bend that front knee. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. Get yourself set up for your mountain pose so that when you press into your feet and rise up and inhale the arms up and overhead, as you exhale, you can bring your hands down to your heart and you can sit back like into a little chair pose. It doesn't have to be low. Bringing your gaze maybe 6 feet in front of you on the floor so there's a kind of uplift in the front of your body rather than hunching over here, right? And now both your legs are working. You're working through your thighs up into your hips. One more breath. And then we'll come on back up. Standing. Good. Shake out just a little bit. We're going to make our way to the other side. So I'm going to flip around here. I'm going to step left foot back. So you're coming into your warrior one here. So again, in a warrior one, that back foot is slightly turned out, right? And you may want your feet to be wider apart for balance sake. You can have your heels lined up or you can have them like you're on narrow railroad tracks. But let your hands come to your heart for a second here. Let yourself just enjoy. Feeling very centered between your feet. Good. Now if you don't feel you have the balance, you can put one hand down on your chair and inhale just one hand up. But if you can do both hands up, inhale them up. And on the exhale, let them come back down. So the belly has to work here, and the hips and the low back. There's the core of the body when you inhale your arms up and exhale them back down. And then inhale the hands right back up. And on the exhale, let them release back down. Unfold your arms on down beside you. And let's inhale the arms out and up again into that wide V. Pinkies turn inward a little bit, so that your shoulders can melt down, and then maybe you want to be able to look up a bit. Take your time, Feel that openness through the front of this left hip. Even if you're in a short stance, there's an openness in that back hip there. One more breath. And then release your arms on down. We're going to find lunge by letting that heel now reach directly behind our foot. It doesn't mean you have to go really long, obviously, but just find your lunge. Stretch out for a second there. And then we'll bring that left foot down to the floor where the foot's turned out. Both legs are straight now for your pyramid pose. Thighs are engaging up towards the hips. If it feels not quite so good, maybe shorten or lengthen your stance a little bit. That can change how it feels too. So take your time. Feel that nice flatness of your back if you can. So again, you're trying not to round up into your back. You're trying to let your heart melt down a little bit. Good. One more breath there. And we're going to step forward to get our feet right underneath us again. Hips distance apart and parallel. Bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, as our hands come down, sit back again into a little chair pose. Doesn't have to be low. You can go lower if you want, right? I mean, if you feel like, oh, I really want to let myself shift back more, even put a little weight into my heels, a little more weight into the heels. Actually, there's naturally a little more weight in your heels in chair pose. Good. One more breath. And we'll rise on back up and unfold your arms and then separate your feet a little bit so that you can start to swing your arms a little side to side. And it's like your arms are wrapping around you naturally, right? So when you swing to the left, your right arm comes all the way around and the back arm comes all the way around so that you're easily just letting your arms very naturally. Because once they start this momentum, that's kind of what they want to do, is wrap inward. Once they come out, they just want to come back in, right? Let it feel relaxing, easy in your shoulders. There's a little twist involved here. Good. And then come on back. Release a little more, swing them a little. We're going to come into Warrior 2 this time. So, again, you can have your chair turned this way. If you're using it, step your right foot back. And now your right foot is about parallel to the back edge of your mat. And your left foot is about parallel to the long edge. And when you bend that left knee, you're in your Warrior 2 here. And heels are about in a line. It doesn't have to be exact, but about in a line. And when you bend that front knee and you get comfortable there, start to bring your gaze as you rise your arms up, right out over the top of your left hand. So that left hand comes to a place where it's really easy to look out over the top. And then flex your hands for a second. Admire the back of your hand. Let yourself enjoy that. And then go ahead and bring your palms back down, reaching out through your fingertips, letting your shoulders soften down away from your ears. Good. And now lower your right hand down to that right leg back there. Turn your left palm up. And inhale. Slide the right hand down a little bit. Let yourself reach up or even a little behind yourself into your reverse warrior. Now, where you look is up to you. If your neck bothers you, you can stay looking forward, right? If you like to look up a little bit or maybe towards your hand, do. One more breath into that side. And on the exhale, we're going to come into side angle, where your left hand or forearm can be on your thigh or your chair. You're leaning out over that left leg. So you're actually leaning over that bent leg a little bit. And then you can add your right arm. It can go up into line with the right side of your body if you want, or you can keep your hand down on your hip if your shoulder bothers you. So you're finding that strength now of the spine, really. Think of the length of your spine, how it's supporting you here. Think more about your spine than your legs for a second. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back into Warrior 2, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And then we're going to turn and let our feet be more parallel as the toes face the long edge of our mat. And we're going to bring our arms out. Now your feet are at least a little wider than your shoulders. How much is up to you? Let your arms come higher than your shoulders, palms face down. Let yourself look forward. We're in a 5-pointed star rather than a forward bend yet. So let yourself come up to standing and then reach out through your fingertips. Drop your shoulders down and think about being a 5-pointed star, right? 5 points. Your 2 feet, your 2 hands out there, the top of your head. Try not to tuck your tailbone up under you. Let your tailbone reach back a little bit, down towards the ground. We're going to lower our arms down. We're going to come forward, bend your knees as you come. If you want to grab a block or a blocks to put your hands on in front of you, by all means do that. So remember, you can use your blocks any height. You can bring your hands to the floor if you want. And then go ahead and bend a knee at a time, easily. So if this movement hurts, don't do it. If bending one knee and then the other hurts in any way, especially in your knees, don't do it. Take your time. Give your inner thighs a little time to stretch out there. And then when you're ready to come back into center, let your knees both bend and bring your elbows, if you can, right above your knees to support your back. So it's a form of a squat. You're able to let yourself lengthen out through your spine. You can use your hands if you don't want to go that low to your elbows. You can be up higher with your hands above your knees. Good. One more breath. And then go ahead and bring your hands back where you like. Maybe to the blocks, maybe to the floor. And maybe you want to stack your blocks up and get out of your hands and put your elbows on your blocks there in front of you. Or maybe, I know some of you like to go ahead and just release your head down towards the ground and bring your hands back more to between your feet. In this pose, your knees can be bent or your knees can be straighter. That is totally up to you. So be mindful of how your legs feel. Take your time. And just follow your breath in and out. Full deep breaths. Let your face go. And if you're feeling kind of tight in your jaw, see if you can just imagine releasing in your jaw. Let your teeth separate a little bit. Let your throat relax. Let your head feel heavy. Good. One more nice full deep breath. Good. And then we're going to slowly come up. So take your time as you do. Rise your way on back up, and we'll bring our feet together. Once you get up here, if you're dizzy, take your time to bring your feet together so that you don't feel like you're going to fall over. Move through your feet, your ankles, however you need. And we're going to head to the other side, so this time it will be the left foot that steps back. Remember, whether your feet are 2.5, 3 feet, 4 feet apart, it doesn't matter how far apart your feet are. When you bend that right knee, just make sure the knee's not going out beyond your toes, right? It's there above your ankle. You're lined up with the center of your foot with your knee. And then from here, start to float your arms on up and out from your shoulders and bring your gaze over the top of that right hand. Soften your shoulders down and then draw your fingertips up as you flex your hands. Admire the back of your hand a little bit there. Let yourself just enjoy softening the tops of the shoulders, but man, there's the undersides of the arms, right? And then go ahead and let the palms face down. Imagine you're reaching as far away from the midline as you can with both sets of fingertips. So your arms are growing out of your back, but they're growing longer and longer and longer. We're going to put our left hand right down on the left leg back there. Turn our right palm up. Start to reach up. Now, how high you go is up to you. Where you look is up to you. Let yourself breathe into the right ribs here. Feel that nice sense of the breath expanding the rib cage. And on the exhale, we'll come into that side angle where either your right hand or forearm can go down to your thigh or to your chair. And you can add the left arm up if you choose to. If not, don't. You know, if your shoulder tells you not to, keep the hand down. Don't add the arm up so that you're okay in your shoulder there. Good. So one more breath. Side angle. We're going to come back to Warrior Two now. Press those feet a little away from each other. It gets you right engaged back in the core of your body. And then we're going to bring our hands down and we're going to turn our feet more parallel again. And bend your knees a little bit. Grab your blocks if you don't have them there already and you need them. And this time, once you get your hands down, bend both your knees at the same time. And imagine you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. So you're pushing your feet away from each other. And just stay there for a breath. Lengthen out through the spine. Good. And then let your hands either be on blocks or the floor, whatever works for you. Bring your hands a little closer together than your shoulders underneath you, either on the blocks or the floor. And then bring your left hand up to your left hip. So you have all your weight in your right hand there. We're going to roll that left shoulder up and come into a bit of a twist. Twist is right in the middle of your back, so you're even there at your sacrum. Good. And then we'll bring that left hand back down, and we're going to switch and go to the other side. So easily letting yourself find that twist, staying as level as you can there on your sacrum. Good. And then we'll go ahead and come back down. And now, let's walk a little to the right. You can just shift your blocks a little, or you can walk all the way to your foot if you want to. Make your way over to the right. Take a couple breaths. And then walk back through center. And we'll go to the left. Again, it doesn't matter how far you go. It doesn't matter what height you are, whether you're on blocks or down on the floor. Once you get as far as you want to go, just watch your breath. Receive a couple of breaths in and out. Good. And then we'll walk back into center again. And once you're there, adjust where you can stay in the pose. So again, if you like to get out of your hands, sometimes stacking the blocks up helps you get out of your hands and still be able to come into, with a flatter back, a longer back, able to let your head hang. What you do when I'm doing this pose is not feel stressed, and the upper body is trying to release. And you're going to receive your breaths in and out as deeply and fully as you can. Feeling the ribs expand as you inhale. Good. One more breath. We're going to slowly make our way up from here. So take your time. If you need to bring your feet together before you start to come up, if you need them to be a little closer before you rise up, do. And then bring those feet on together. Move around a little bit. And we're a smaller class today, so we're going to bring our mats into a wall. All right? So you're good there. You're good there. Nancy, you can be in that. Yeah, you can be right by the pole there, Margaret. And Nancy, you can be in between those two lights. Helen and Susan over there. And Janet, I think you can fit. We can do three, or else Trudy. Yeah, Trudy can go here, and then Janet, if you can go right there, and Kathy, you can go right kind of where Trudy was.
Okay. Yeah.
That way there's more room between everybody, okay? Everybody feel Feel like there's plenty of room. See if you're here and shoot that good. Okay. So let's play a little bit. So our short edge of our mat's to the wall, and everything else is handy. So we're good. We'll do a little bit of first coming to the wall with our hands. Now you can do this if your hands bother you. At first, all we're going to do is walk back a little ways and bring our right foot up behind us for a little warrior three. Not very high. Now, if you want, you can walk down the wall a little bit, bend your elbows, let the leg come up a little higher. That's fine. If you don't want to do that, don't do it. Stay up higher, let the leg be lower. Just really feeling that strength of that supporting leg in your warrior three. Good. And now just put that foot back down, and we're going to go the other side. So you're far enough away that when you get that right supporting leg where you want it, and you bring that left foot up, you're like, oh, well, that feels really good to go lower with the body and up higher with the leg. Or maybe it doesn't, right? So pay attention. Turn the toes down. You're trying to keep your hips square and level. Yeah. So that you're not opening up in the hip like we do in half moon. It's a warrior three pose. Good. And now take a break, walk into the wall, come onto your forearms, and let your elbows be pretty much directly forward of your shoulders. Walk your feet back, and then come into like you're in a forearm plank here at the wall. You're pressing into your forearms, hugging your elbows towards each other. Let yourself feel that sense of, again, you don't want to tuck your tailbone under you. Tailbone is reaching like it's reaching towards between your heels. But really press into those forearms, and now really feel that you're trying to draw your elbows towards each other, and feel how your armpits hollow out. Do you feel that? And it's almost easier to feel it here than it is if you're on the floor. If you can feel that sense of hollowing in the armpits, it's really kind of an amazing thing. See if from here you can, when you inhale, lift your heels up slightly, and when you exhale, you bring them back down. So your shoulders, remember, are still being used. Now you're activating a little into the backs of the legs. You're still pressing into the wall and still hugging your elbows towards each other. Good. And then finish the one you're on. And we're going to step in towards the wall. And we're going to turn, let's turn our right shoulder towards the wall. And then step maybe a foot away from the wall. So that your right foot's about a foot or so. A little more is fine, a little less, doesn't matter. But cross your left ankle over your right. Put that left foot on the floor if you can, the whole foot. And then rise your left arm up overhead and start to reach towards the wall with your hand. Lean your head towards the wall too. You can even lean your head into the wall if you're close enough. Let your right arm hang down if you want. Now if this hurts anywhere, don't do it. Does anybody find any pain there or anything? No? So just breathe. Really good IT band stretch. Side stretch, outside of the leg stretch. One more breath. And then use your right hand on the wall to come up again. We're going to step in to the wall closer now. And we're going to rise the inside right arm up the wall. Now, you might have to step away, all right? That depends on your shoulder. If you can bend your right elbow and put your right hand somewhere behind your head, or if it has to be on top of your head, do it on top of your head if you have to come away from the wall, or send your elbow forward, right? We're trying to find as much mobility in our shoulders as we can. If you can just lie your left hand with the palm outward on your low back, you can stay there. Keeping your gaze forward so that you're not rounding and finding that hump that none of us want to have, right? Instead, you're bringing your gaze forward. You can bring your hands closer towards each other if you like that. You absolutely do not need to. If your left arm bothers you at all, let it hang down. Keep your gaze forward though, so you're not rounding into your chest here, right? Good. One more breath. And now step away from the wall. Let your arms come on down. We're going to turn around to the other side. Step about a foot away from the wall. And cross your right ankle in front of your left ankle so that you kind of have that foot on the floor, right? And then from there, the right arm comes up and over towards the wall so you can lean your head to the wall if you're close enough. You can let yourself now breathe into the right side of the body. And do you feel that all the way down in your side waist? It goes like and it goes all the way down to the outer hip and into the outer leg. So just breathe into that right side. One more breath. And now you can use your left hand to sort of use the wall to help you back up. Good. And we're going to uncross the legs. Get close to the wall as you can. Bring your left inside arm up. Now again, this is all different for everybody, and this is a new shoulder than the one you did before. When you bend that left elbow and put your hand down, maybe it'll come to the top of your head or the back of your neck or your upper back. If not, no worries. Put the elbow forward if you have to. Step away from the wall if you have to. Don't do something that hurts your shoulder. And then again, if your right hand can come behind you, palm facing out. Or if you want to let your hands reach towards each other more, you can. But keep your gaze forward. That's the big thing here. Not looking down and coming into that hunchback there in the upper back, right? It's almost like you're breathing in and out through your heart. Good. And one more breath there. And now step away. Let your arms unfold. Release a little bit there. Step back away from the wall. And bring your hands back to the wall. We're going to do a warrior three again. Now, some of you might want to do just what we did before. You might want to be on fists. You might want to bring your right foot up a little bit. Some of you might actually want to walk down to come into down dog at the wall with your hands right forward of your shoulders so that you're bent about 90-degree angle at your hips. You don't have to go this far, right? If you like to, from there, lift your right leg up, pressing in to the hands on the wall there. Remember, you can always bend your supporting knee a little bit. Don't worry about it. Let yourself find where you can. You don't have to go that deeply forward either. Good. One more breath. And then bringing that foot down, all we're going to do is switch. So find where you can be. And let yourself switch to the other leg. And if you need to adjust your hands on this one, do. Stay as even as you can in your hands. Good. Toes are pointing down. Level as you can be in your hips. Good. One more breath. And then we'll release. We're going to come on back towards the wall. And let's turn around. Walk your feet out just a little bit and let yourself lean back into the wall. And bend your knees a little bit, right? Doesn't have to be much. You can turn your palms out if possible. Bring the backs of your hands towards the wall. It's like a release for your hips. If you want to go lower, you're welcome to go lower. You just don't want to bend your knees so much that your knees go out beyond your toes. So if you decide, well, I want to go lower, then you're going to need to walk your feet out farther so that you can go lower without having the knees be stressed, right? Good. Open through the chest. Let yourself just enjoy feeling the backs of the hands gently coming into the wall. And you've got all these curves in your back right now. You certainly are not trying to tuck your tailbone forward up under you. You're reaching it down, right? One more breath. Good. We're going to walk back up. And we're going to come on down onto our mats on the floor to sit. So when you come down, if you need a blanket, get a blanket to sit on, right? And we're gonna sit back, actually let's go all the way back to the wall since we have the wall today. So again, if you wanna sit on a blanket, do. Good. And go ahead and bring your right leg forward and bring your left foot in. This is all optional, how far you bring this leg up. So if you want to put some support underneath your left leg, when you're sitting up tall, you can either put the foot lower and support it, or you can let the foot come to the inner thigh here. You can let it hang if you want. But sit up tall here. Let yourself feel the back. Again, like you just were with your back to the wall when we had both feet on the floor. Right? And feel the heel of that right foot on the floor. Feel the toes facing up. So try not to let the leg turn outward. Let the toes face up. And then maybe, you got the wall there, maybe you can kind of put your hands back and imagine coming a little bit forward. Now I know some of you, if you think of coming forward from your chest, right? Some of you, it's an inch or two, right? Some of us, we're just like built that you just want to keep coming forward because it feels good. So just be mindful. It's fine to keep your hands back. Let yourself come an inch away from the wall. It's fine if you want to put your hands down to your leg or towards your foot to come into this bit of a forward bend. That's fine. Just really be mindful. Don't force it. Feeling the back of the leg gently opening up without forcing anything. Good. And then come on back up. And now let the right leg come out a little bit to the side. It's not really very far. Just it's out on the floor though. So if that bothers your heel, you can always put a blanket underneath it. But all we're going to do from here, and it probably won't bother your heel, is again think of coming a little bit forward. So you come into really opening up in the inside of this right leg, right here, pretty deeply, right? So again though, think of this right foot facing toes up. So you're not letting it go back like this and letting it just relax and hang. You've got the heel on the ground and you're kind of drawing it back towards your sitting bone. So you're engaged as you're stretching. Good. One more breath. And now come up and put your left hand on the floor, right here by your bent leg, right? And start to reach your right arm up. Now, you can come lower and lower and lower and lower into this side stretch if you want. You can bend that left elbow, or you can stay up higher. So breathing into the right side there. Good. And then we're going to rise on back up and go ahead and bring your right back leg back so you can stretch your left leg out and switch legs. So again, if you know this is stressful on your knee, put the leg lower, put the block underneath it. When you sit up tall and you let yourself release up into the wall here and you think about coming forward, if this starts to feel iffy, your hip or your knee, then change the height of your foot. So you can come forward where you choose, where you can be, or you can basically, if it feels like, wow, I can barely get away from the wall, then just stay there. So you feel the back of your leg, but you're not stressing anything out. Good. One more breath. And then come on slowly back up. And now this leg's going to open out a little bit. Doesn't have to be far. Kind of up to you. And then again, now if this leg feels funny when you think of coming forward, adjust your foot. Right? So when you think of coming a little bit forward here with the leg out to the side, feel that inner thigh. Adjust this right one if you have to, in any way that you need to. Right? Good. And then we'll come on, back up, put your right hand here onto the floor by your bent leg now. And then can, as you bring that left arm up, you can bend the right elbow and come into your side stretch as far as you want. Let yourself breathe into the left side. You can also, if you want, use a block underneath your hand or your forearm, right? Good. We're going to slowly make our way back up, and let's bring our legs on around in front of us. Kind of shake your legs out a little bit. And if you want, you can even take your heels of your hands and kind of start up way up here where your legs connect. And then just press into the outer edges of your thighs to where you stop above your knees. And you can kind of make your way from the sides of the legs up a little bit towards, so that you're heading towards the top of your thighs. And you just make these little kind of deep, really releasing, pressing down into the muscles of the thighs there till you get up on top. And then you can also play with your kneecaps if you want to. Right? So we're going to come down, let's come down onto our backs on the floor. So take your time. I'll do the other thing I was going to do next time. So come on down, let yourself come onto the floor. Bring your feet to the floor. Once you're on your back, use a blanket underneath your head right now if you want to, because all we're going to do is, with our feet on the floor, let our knees come side to side. So don't go any further down towards the ground with your knees than feels good. Good. And then finish off. And let your right knee come in towards your chest. You can hold behind your thigh or at your shin below your knee. And let's extend our left leg down long. Let yourself just press that right leg gently into your hands a little bit. Feel the back aligning itself. Now that you're lying here on the floor. So all those natural curves, the curve up in your cervical vertebrae, the curve down in your lumbar spine. We're going to switch legs. So when you're ready, bringing that left knee in, sending the right leg right underneath you, down long, and flex through both your feet. You can hold behind your thigh. Remember, you don't have to hold your shin. Bring both knees in towards your chest. Let yourself release the knees side to side. And then just open your knees out wider. Send your feet up into the air like you're coming into that happy baby. And you can either keep your hands on the outside of your legs or reach up if you want. Hold on to your ankles or your feet. Think about your knees kind of sliding down towards the ground. And some of you I know like to rock and roll back and forth, side to side. If you like to roll side to side, do you? If that doesn't feel good on your back or your hips, don't do it. And then release your feet on back to the floor. For a second, just stretch your arms overhead. Even if you're close to the wall, you can just hold your elbows if you want to, or let your one hand hold the other wrist, or hold your anywhere you want on your arms so that you have your arms overhead. And then release your arms on down beside you. And what does your body feel like doing right now? We're getting ready to come into our Shavasana, our final relaxation pose. But you may decide you need to do another stretch or another movement. And it doesn't have to be a yoga pose. I mean, if you feel like you want to do a bridge pose, do a bridge pose. If you want to do another just twist of letting your knees come side to side, by all means do that. Take your time. I'm going to start to walk around and be able to bring support. Remember, traditional Shavasana, which translates to being corpse pose. right, is done lying on your back with your arms slightly away from you, your legs down long with your feet kind of going towards the corner of your mat. Well, this is obviously not always comfortable, even whether it's after yoga or any time. So there are lots of things I have in here to bring you support. I have blankets for underneath heads for pillows. I have bolsters for underneath knees if your back feels icky. I'm going to start to walk around. Wave at me if you don't have what you need to be more comfortable, whether it's a blanket or bolster. If you need to kind of wiggle your arms and legs to get more comfortable, do that. So that you can really let yourself feel released into your shoulders and your hips as you feel the weight of your arms and legs. And if you can just watch your breath now, like it's a wave. So if you were at the beach, you were watching waves coming in and going out. Get that same sense about your breath. Nothing you need to do. You don't need to change your breath. You just watch the waves coming in and going out. And then when your mind wanders and you find yourself thinking, which you're always going to do, and so could just softly come back to your breath again and again and again. Just giving your body and your brain time here to find those little quiet places so you can benefit from everything you just did. Just by allowing yourself to completely and fully relax. come back into starting to move. Let your fingers, your toes maybe wiggle at first. Your hands, your feet can move. You might want to move through your ankles, your wrists a little bit as you come into arms and legs. Whatever you need to do, stretch everything or bring your knees up and in. Take your time. You know you're welcome to stay on your back a little longer, to roll to either your right or your left side. If you're comfortable to do that, you can come on either side with your knees bent in a soft fetal position, and maybe use your arm as a pillow if you like, just to give yourself time to adjust a little bit. But when you feel ready to rise up to sitting, if you can keep your eyes closed, kind of imagine you're floating your way up. And if you need to grab a blanket to sit on, or sit up on something, a block or a blanket, to be more comfortable, do. But get comfortable whether you want to cross your legs or stretch them out. Let your eyes be closed gently, and let yourself just enjoy getting your head again up there on top of your spine. So feeling your head above your heart, letting yourself come back to watch your breath. On your next exhale, letting your hands come gently together to meet in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Monday. Happy new week. Take your time. Lights in a second here.